Now I'd like to call your PBA President, Patrick Lynch, to come up to the podium and say a few words.
Thank you, John. Thank you very much. Please. Thank you so much. You know, as I look out across this delegate body, I think about the fact this is the 24th time that I've taken this podium. And as we watch these videos on either side of us, we see all that we've gone through. The celebrations, the sorrows, the tragedies, the attacks. And throughout that time, in each of those events, what you saw in that crowd was the delegates of the largest police union in the planet, and you should be proud of that. The one constant, not only in this city, not only in this state, but absolutely across this country, is this organization. When anything happens to law enforcement, from coast to coast, they're compared to you. Whether that's in the street and the work that we do on patrol, it's as these pictures show, it's when we go on one knee to help someone that needs help. It's when we take the time to hang up our gun belt and pick up a baseball, basketball, soccer ball and play with a child who needs it, who can't afford it. When it's a tragedy or a controversy. The NYPD and the delegates of the New York City PBA are mentioned. You've helped us bring this organization onto a national stage for our defensive police officers. When they think of the New York City PBA, they think of defense. They think of protectors. They think of the NYPD. Sometimes we're praised, sometimes we're criticized, but we're always recognized. Whether they like us standing next to a police officer that's wrongfully accused, or they hate the fact that we're standing next to that police officer that's wrongfully accused, what they'll quietly say is, I don't necessarily agree with what you say, but I agree with what you do. Because what you're doing as police officers, what you're doing as delegates, is protecting our country. Some of these funerals, as I look now, as we bow our head at a tragic funeral. Sometimes as you go through this network of pictures, you'll see smoldering dust and wonder what it is because you can't really make out the figure. And that's September 11th. And that's a New York City police officer. You know, we talk about police officers, how when all goes wrong, we push to the front of the line. We talk about when things aren't going right, we're wrongfully accused, we're demonized, that it's a police officer that pushed to the front of the crowd. When they tried to burn down our city, it was a police officer that stood fast in the line while we were spit at, attacked, bricks, bottles, and worse. And we stood the line. But if you were able to come close to the screen, and you were able to take out a magnifying glass and look at the crowd, what you'll see who's pushing past the police officers standing that line is a delegate of the New York City PBA wanting to stand in the front of that line. That's what you do. Each convention since I've been here, and each time since I've been a New York City police officer, and each time I open the paper and find out we're being demonized for doing our job. August comes and I'll come to this conference and I contemplate what to say, but it always comes back to the same. You should never apologize for being a New York City police officer. But there's one more thing. There's one more thing. And you've heard me say it, and I mean it with all respect to all our ranks. But it's the truth, and I try to be truthful. The most important rank in the NYPD, in every command, in every station house, in every district, in every PSA, the most important is that of delegate. You may be a member of rank. You may have stars on your shoulders. But as a PBA delegate, all from CO to cleaner, ask who the delegate is. When we leave at the end of the day, we want all ranks in our command, in our house, in our family, we want them to go home in one piece. We want them to go home with all their vacation days. We want them to go home with more than they came, in the words of respect. So yes, as I circle back to the beginning, we've taken this organization an awful long way. We've put it on the national stage in the defense of our cops. We've stood on street corners. We've stood in front of City Hall. We've stood in front of funeral homes. You know, it's funny, we talk about how we don't want tragedy to happen. And I didn't understand this when I was younger and my hair was one color. I didn't understand when folks would say, when all others are at their worst, we're at our best. And when we're at our best as New York City police officer, you're at your best as delegates. And when tragedy happens, when controversy happens, you want to be part of it. It sounds odd, right? You want to push to the front of the crowd. You want to stand there and say, this is not right. You want to stand there and say, you're wrong. And that's really what you do. And that's hard to do. Because sometimes as a delegate, when you push to the front of the room and you say, no, you're wrong, and I'll stand up for what's right, sometimes you end up standing by yourself. We stand by ourselves, and you skim through these pictures here. There's a picture there of one of our graduations, one of those celebrations that's so important to us. But if you look close at the picture, on the right-hand side is a picture of Police Officer Mora. It was discovered after the program was put together. The next picture is you standing up for his memory. It's you standing up against evil. It's you standing up for our flag, our department, our city, and our profession. Never apologize. Never once. Never back away. Never walk away. Yeah, we're going through a hard time. We'll see our way through. The honor of being the Person of the Year of the New York City PBA is by far one of the most prestigious awards you can get. Our commissioner has, yes, made history. Yes, you've broken down doors. Yes, you've broken ceilings. And we've honored many prestigious people at this podium, at this convention. This is the first time, as you know, in my memory, John Young might have a different memory, that we're honoring an active NYPD police commissioner. I'm going to leave it there. But again, as you look through this slide, you know, when commissioners come in, and Commissioner, you're my 7th commissioner since I've been honored to stand at this podium as the president of the largest police union on the planet. And many times when commissioners come in, you wait for that time when you meet. It has a name, a meet and greet. We're going to meet and we're going to greet the commissioner. We're going to go to the commissioner's office and we're going to put our A suit on and we're going to respect that office. We're going to respect the person. We're going to respect the shield and we're going to respect our shields. And you have a chit chat. And you sit and you think, what should I say when I get there? What should I bring up? And what's important? Well, we didn't get that opportunity, Commissioner. We were together celebrating with the city and our members in Times Square on New Year's Eve. Not 5, 6 hours later, we were in the 2-5 with a police officer shot. So we didn't meet and greet, but we met and worked. And we didn't have to think about what we were going to say because we were there in defense of one of our fallen. Thank God he was okay. But within days, not so much. Because then, we had tragedy beyond tragedy. When 2 of our hero police officers in the 3-2 were tragically attacked and killed. And there we rushed to the hospital. And what I saw was members of all ranks. What I saw was cars being dumped in every spot you can dump in and running the rest of the way. What I saw when I rushed into that hospital was delegates doing what they could. Delegates cleaning blood off the floor. Delegates preparing for a family coming through to get the news. What I also saw standing next to each of you, and you were there by the thousands. What I also saw, standing in that emergency room, literally doing what we could, standing next to you, in shock like us all, but pushing through, at our best when things are at their worst, was our police commissioner. And that's why you're our person of the year. God bless each and every one of you. Commissioner, over the years when you may have visited One Police Plaza, and then when you came back as the top law enforcement person in the country, in my opinion, and you came back as our commissioner, you passed a statue like this in the lobby of One Police Plaza. And we all know what this means. And for you to know, the New York City PBA does not give these out easily. To get this, you earn this. This means so much. Yes, this is a police officer standing with their shoulders square, their 8-point on straight, their shield on their chest, and their hand on a child's. And that child is a child of a slain police officer. But it means more than just that. That child can be anybody we bow and kneel and put our hands on to help. It could be an aide. It could be a victim. It could be a mother. It could be a family. But in all those scenarios, good and bad, there's a police officer with their hand on your shoulder. So yes, this statue is important. Yes, we see it many times. And yes, sometimes in the rush to not be late, we may breeze past. But Commissioner, when you put this in a place of honor, I want you to think about what it really means. Because you are the leader of the finest law enforcement agency in the country, and equally important to that, the person of the year to the largest police union in the planet. You've earned it, man.
This has become my purse since I got here, this portfolio. Thank you, Pat, and the entire executive board and the membership of the NYPD PBA. When in the course of normal events, I am lucky that I get to speak before Pat Lynch. But I always speak after Rabbi Cass. Pat is an extraordinary speaker, and he is a caring champion for our police officers. I am privileged that I've had the opportunity to get to know you. I simply cannot thank the PBA enough for this honor. To say that I am humbled is an understatement. I am not one for many words if I can help it, so I will be brief. It is easy to get lost in one PP. There are a lot of doors. There are 4 to the PC's office. They are dark wood, about 8 feet tall and 3.5 feet wide. And I don't have a working key for any of them. But every day, there is someone assigned who opens my door, welcomes me in, and tells me the issues of the day. I think about the closed and locked doors that you respond to with no welcome inside, and the issues you face every day. On a cold January night, we sent Jason Rivera and Wilbert Mora to a steel door, knowing not what evil was on the other side. All across New York City, we send you to sliding subway doors, creaking housing doors, alongside heavily tinted driver and passenger side doors when we have no idea what's on the other side. Yet you still go up and go through. Sometimes the key is a complaining victim, a complex 1PP initiative, or simply your shoulder or your boot to open it up, to answer a person in need. Who are we sending to these doors? And do you know how valuable you are? Mothers, fathers, brothers and sisters, Little League coaches and Pee-wee soccer moms doing what we ask you to do far too many times at too great a cost. Departing your home each day, crossing a threshold of uncertainty. I can, do, and will take an oath to your resilience in this career. I can, do, and will testify to your grasp of what's at stake, to your dedication, to answer those jobs, to take those doors, to face that uncertainty, only to be judged through a microscope, under a magnifying glass, using binoculars. Many can criticize, few can understand. But under that searing gaze, we must still hold ourselves to the highest standards of professionalism, being fair and just. But we must be that to you too. The city has been through a lot in the past few years. We have been demanded to take it back, but we have to take care of each other. We must shore up who we are sending to these doors. We ask you to address quality of life issues. We should be concerned about your own. We ask you to leave your families with no guarantee of return. We should check that your mind is ready for the fight. At 244 days in, I bear witness to the valor coded in the DNA of the NYPD. To focus on the task ahead, to your determination to answer those calls, to take those doors, to face that uncertainty, to restore New York. There are people throughout the city that want, need, and support you. I have met them. They are not always on Instagram, TikTok, or Twitter, but they see you. And when you get discouraged, disheartened, or feel unappreciated, I need you to see them and how truly invaluable you are. They will walk with you, talk with you, cry with you, stand with you in sunshine and in storms. One of them sits behind 4 doors at 1 pp. You are the locksmiths to safety. You are the keepers of the keys that unlock the future of New York City. I know what you face. I have felt the strength in your hearts. We've been through too many hospital doors together. I may not always get it right, but I believe in you, and I know I'm not wrong about that. After social unrest, post-pandemic, and in the midst of rising crime, you were given a foreign police commissioner that you did not know. Thank you for opening the door. You can always knock on any one of mine. Just don't get lost. Enjoy the conclusion.